Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Miles and Crawford Variety Hour, which we're going to start calling it the MC Variety Hour because that's a fucking mouthful. Am I right, Miles?
That is so fucking right, man. So right.
I really need your woo to get me going this week.
Yeah. Okay, my voice is shot this week, guys, so bear with me.
I have a developing chest cold, so you're getting the best of Ohio without getting sick.
It's so true. And I just got back from sunny motherfucking Orlando, Florida, and which was great because it was like 90 degrees out. However, you know, the hotel room was like ridiculous air conditioning at night, then hot ass humidity in the morning, and then I was stuck in ridiculous air conditioning for the trade show, and so now I sound like the sexy smoker lady.
She's gonna be reading you bedtime stories today, people.
Do you have some candy?
Air conditioning makes me sick too, like going in and out, in and out.
I can't do it. I can't, and especially like I said, like going from the weather change of Ohio down to Florida, then back to Ohio. Like I came home yesterday and it was fucking rain, snow, bullshit. And then I wake up this morning and everything's iced over. And I get up from work and it's 45 degrees outside. And I'm like, that's it. And I'm going to Nashville tomorrow. So Nashville's weather is about as crazy as ours. So we'll see what actually happens.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So how did you like Florida? Was that your first time there?
It was technically my third time there. I had gone to Clearwater before with Andrew, but this is my second time in Orlando. Different trade show venue, different hotel venue, which was nice. But I loved it. I mean, Orlando's beautiful. The thing about trade shows is that you don't get as much time as you want to explore and to really see where you're at. You're kind of like hotel, unpack, fucking get your shit set up, go get some drinks, go to bed, wake up, finish your booth, make it look pretty, then the fucking either the show starts or you're back out to like meeting up with the rest of the group, more dinner, drinks, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I mean, it was great. Orlando was phenomenal to us. The trade show was phenomenal. A lot of really good people, a lot of really good input. So it was great. There was a lot of there was some drama with our own stuff, but it is what it is. And, but now it's over with. I mean, it was just 5 days was a really long time, and and they were long days. Like trade shows, sometimes you go there for like 8 hours one day and 3 or 4 hours the next, but this was 2 back to back. Now, one day was all together was set up and time that the trade show ended was like a 14.5-hour day. And then and after that, your body hurts because I move appliances, they're not like, here's a 20-pound refrigerator. Some of these, beasts are like, 150, 200 pounds, plus getting them out of the crate, setting them up. It's a whole thing.
Woo, and
we have labor help and stuff. Don't get us wrong. But, some of these bigger companies, I work for a smaller company, and these bigger, these big Whirlpool and LG, they have the labor. They put down thousands. I mean, these guys get paid like $100 an hour. And so they pay these guys to set up their entire booth. They come in, they like kind of just do a quick wipe down, and then they're on the trade show. They don't have to unpack or do any of the actual physical labor of opening up or shutting down. And, we're more like, the company that we do it ourselves, and we have some labor help to help us with the big, the really big, like 300-pound units. But beyond that, it's done with our own, fucking backs and arms and muscles. So I'm a little sore.
Buddy. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that. I got an office job, and I finally realized, not here, but I had one. And we didn't have to clean the office, and I was so excited. I was like, oh, wow, I work in a big enough company where we have a cleaning crew that comes,
Yeah, you're like, oh my God.
I was so excited. Like, I don't have to clean the bathroom.
Trash out.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody else takes my trash. Whoa, nice. But also very weird.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and like I said, the company, the company I work for takes good care of us. It's just at the same time, too, it also is not, we have a very frugal owner. And so where we can save money, we do. And because we're not a big, massive appliance company, like the big names that are out there, and we're a little bit smaller, we don't put down all the numbers. We'd rather kind of show our integrity as a company by being the people who do the work. But I mean, seriously though, can we just not save like, $400 or $500 and just pay somebody to do this shit for me? Because I'm over it.
Right? Like, I don't want to do this. That'd be really great.
Yeah. And, speaking of while I was gone on the sweet trip, unexpectedly, my cat had kittens.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
By the way, folks, don't delay on getting your cats spayed or neutered. Because when you delay on it which granted, I mean, I'm glad that I didn't, because I could have gone in and taken her to get spayed and she was going to be pregnant anyways, and I didn't want to make her to have a forced abortion. So, I mean, we saved a cat some trauma.
Right. That is very traumatic for them, too.
It is. So I'm glad that, now I've got 4 baby kittens in my bedroom.
She's
and a big old tote.
Kitty grandma?
I am, and my husband played the wet nurse. Like, he literally called me. I just got to Orlando, and he's like, "Hey, remember that time where you said that you were going to get the cat spayed?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I was going to, I postponed it for like 2 extra months because I was being lazy. And he's like, "Yeah, so I've got kittens." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I don't know. The cat's in labor, and we don't know what to do." And I'm like, "Call Crawford. Well, I'll get her on the. I'll get Crawford on the board. Like Crawford."
Get the cat expert. I did give him some
the cat
advice.
expert?
I gave him some advice. I was like, well, and I told him like what happens like when they're done, and baby kittens. Now I don't know for sure because I didn't go to vet school or anything. I just had cats all my life, so I'm very familiar with the birthing process. But they all have like their own little placenta or afterbirth, and I think all the little ones feed off the big one at the end. You know how when we give birth and then our placenta comes out after, but kittens, I think. So anyways, when the baby pops out, they're all in their own little fluid sac. And, she cleans that off of them and she eats all that crap. And I told him, I was like, she's not having kittens because she'll eat the afterbirth, the final afterbirth. And it's a big chunk. It's gross. And so that's what he thought it was. And then like an hour later, he was like, there's another kitten. And I was like, that wasn't the afterbirth then. He did really well, though. For a man with a birthing cat on his lap, he did pretty good, I think. Did a good job.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. He had he had my partner in crime to be his partner in birth.
You can
so
do
that's
this,
always
little
good.
buddy. You can do this. Now just don't get attached to him. Oh, it's hard.
It's so hard.
They try to
he already has
weasel their way in there too. Like, oh, stop following me everywhere, leaning up against my leg when I stop.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that I know who she
Mated
put her
with?
little ass. Yeah. There's a little tabby cat, and so a lot of these look like the gray and black tabby cats, but most of them are all black. But we have one that's really mostly gray with the black stripes on it, and that is like the one that he
they're
has.
all like that.
Yeah. But because this one's more gray, he's just attached himself, and and I'm like, babe, like, you can't. You said that you don't want to keep any of these. Like, we're not keeping any of them.
Oh yeah, wait till you try to be like, okay, I'm gonna find homes for them. But you could cry a little bit. I mean, you put a little. Kittens are like kids, you know what I mean? Like, oh, look at these guys. Especially him being right there in the birthing you know what I mean? He's invested already.
He is. And like I told him, I'm like, it's going to be 8 weeks. Like, they have to at least be with her for 8 weeks before.
I hate people who are like 6 weeks, they're still trying to nurse, and they rip them away from their mother. When I had kittens, I always made sure that they were for sure done,
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, you're going to be, good luck to you. I was like, if you really think that we can keep all of these around for 8 weeks and that you're not going to get attached to at least one, if not all of them. He's like, we're not having 5 cats. And
there's
I'm like,
always
okay.
one, dude. There's always just one that gets you the heart. I was telling Mr. Miles, though, that female cats can have more than one father to their litter. So, you have a cat who has 7 kittens, and each one, there's like a white kitten, got an orange tabby, got a brown tabby, got a black and white one. It's because she got had by a couple different dudes. So, yeah.
My cat's a hoe. We're cool with it.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. I was like, she should only, when he said 3, I was like, that's probably all she's going to have because they usually have small litters. But, yeah, he survived it, and I was really proud of him. He did a good job.
That is phenomenal. All right. So you guys also know, though, that between Crawford's fucking crazy week at work and me traveling for the last 5 days, we have no idea what we're podcasting about.
No.
And I also just spilled my drink all over the garage floor. So I'm going to leave Crawford to start this off, and I'm going to make myself a cocktail, and I'll just pick up. We're going to wing this, guys. Fuck it. Bear with us.
Hear my fucking wings flap. Boom. This week, I'm on a 7-day stretch myself with a 10-hour shift wedged in there somewhere. And Miles is she has like one whole day in between trips. So, really happy that she was able to get in there and get an episode pushed out before she jets off again tomorrow. My week has been very exciting. The news has been very exciting. I don't know if anybody saw the gun ceremony where they all got their guns blessed. That was entertaining. I just noticed a little bit ago, Miles actually posted this, that the crowns that some of them are wearing are made out of ammo, and that I don't know how I feel about that. Like, am I being a little bit too much by saying that that's kind of some cult type stuff? I really feel like that's not right. That freaked me out with the white gowns and the ammo crowns. I mean, why do you need God to bless your weapon? That is made solely for the purpose of killing other humans. That just, to me, seems very unchristian-like, but I could be wrong. Let's see, what else do we see in the news this week? It's kind of been a crazy news. I know our last podcast we talked about, or no, I don't think it was our last podcast. Podcast before that, we talked about gun violence. And what we can, the Parkland, Florida high school shooting, that was a big deal. And we've really seen a lot of finally, mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting in this country, and we do nothing. And it's been really refreshing to see people finally standing up and saying, okay, it's time we do something. As private companies who are saying will no longer, that sell guns say will no longer sell the guns to people that are under 21. They're no longer waiting for legislators to do something. They're finally taking it into their own hands and saying, you know what? If our legislators aren't going to do something, we can do something. And it's just refreshing to hear people finally coming up with, maybe they're not the right solutions, we'll find out, but trying for once instead of doing nothing.
I agree.
With the thoughts and the prayers, you know what I mean?
I am proud that my company flies exclusively through Delta. I'm proud. Like right now, I was like, man, Delta overcharges. I could fly through Spirit because we do one of those. You put the money down, they'll pay you back and reimburse you. And some of us don't have great credit like myself.
Right.
I'm like, sometimes, somehow a $500 round trip ticket costs. And not that the company will pay for it. If I'm like, hey, I don't have the money, the boss will pay for it. It's nothing like that. But we fly exclusively through Delta because a majority of the people that I work with all have great credit. They've been salesmen for 10, 20 years. So they have unlimited, amount of money, if anything.
They're good.
They're good. So they can get the Delta cards and just throw it on the credit card and call it a good day. And I'm like, I'm not there, not yet. And, but for right now, I'm super proud of Delta for sticking to their guns.
And did you see what Georgia did?
Yeah, Georgia is stopping their money.
They're taking a stand. I love that their state legislature is siding with a private company against another private company. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
So many levels.
The fact there are states right now who are saying,
you can come
Delta,
with us.
We are proud of you. We will give you A, B, and C to come to our state, and you can move your headquarters instead. So,
right.
Fuck you people for trying to fuck over Delta.
Right. Well, fuck you,
they might be hit for a year.
Right.
And that's it. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a airplane company
right.
making a stance to a bunch of kids, quote unquote, who are going to be the ones who are traveling for spring break, who are traveling home for the holidays, who are flying back and forth for their jobs or whatever it might be. And every single time those children, especially those from Florida, are going to remember who stood by them. And Delta is going to be the company for them because of the fact that Delta said, I'll take the hit. I'll do what you got to do. Bet. Let's do this.
You know what I think is interesting is with the Hobby Lobby decision back, it's been a while now, but basically that a corporation, it's over birth control, but it basically ruled that a corporation is a person. I find it interesting that if corporations are people and they make stances like that, and then our legislators make laws to punish them for speaking their mind, isn't that like abusing their freedom of speech? Or I don't know. To me, that just seems like there's got to be something in there where that's not right.
There's supposed to be laws. Like technically, and by all means, there is laws that are in place. And the problem is that we all went to the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court justices fit the mindset of such company that they would fight against this. Like Hobby Lobby fought against Obamacare's birth control laws because Hobby Lobby did not want to offer free birth control to their employees because it was against their religious beliefs. Their beliefs that a virgin got impregnated by a fucking ghost and had baby Jesus said that women should not take birth control and that they should not stop their bodies from bearing as many children as possible through their company's belief.
Even though medical studies have shown how hard that is on a woman's body to do that, like it kills women, literally.
It does. And so you're forcing women who want to get decent pay, and Hobby Lobby does not offer that great of pay. Sorry, Bustas. Like Aldi provides better pay than Hobby Lobby does.
Yeah.
But you want to offer women and I'm not saying that men don't work there, but I'm saying that women who work at Hobby Lobby, you will not offer them free birth control based on religious views. So therefore, the only people who can be hired by you are those with the same religious beliefs as you.
Right.
And therefore, that to me, I
That's
know
discrimination.
that it's discrimination. And I know that if I, called on Bills with Luke, and he would probably end up making some kind of podcast, because I really like his podcast. They are really enlightening about how is this not discrimination, because you're telling me that now granted, a woman can still work for them, but she's going to have to pay for birth control. And at some point, some of you guys are like, well, it's just birth control. How much can it be?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And it depends on what kind of birth control you're on.
And what? Sorry.
No. What kind of birth control have you been on?
I am not on a birth control anymore, but I did the shot when I was from 16 until I was 21. Depo-Provera, I was the one that I used the most, and then I tried that Nuva ring, but that came out unexpectedly one night. I think I had tried the pill for a little while, but I always forgot to take it. So that's why I always went with the shot, because it was easy to
Yeah, exactly. And see, for me, I did a pill, but that's what I very first started off on, was the birth control pill, and I was terrible at taking it, because what most people don't understand is the birth control pill, if you decide to start your birth control at, let's say, 9:30 every night, for the rest of your life at 9:30 every single night, you have to take birth control or it's ineffective. That's how the pill works. So I sucked at that. And then I went to the birth control patch, and that's now banned. So that was one of those that did not work out well. Terrible rashes. I was all fucked up from it.
What was that? Yaz? Or no, I think that's a pill.
That's a pill. But yeah, the birth control patch, it was like a little skin colored patch, and you had to put it on your waistline. And so I did that for a while, and I didn't like that. I had terrible rashes from it. I was all kinds, and my hormones were raging crazy. And I don't remember what I went to after. Oh, no. So after the birth control patch, I want to say that I, had some problems in the lady area. And then they told me I wasn't going to have kids. So then I said, well, fuck it. Why take birth control if I don't have to? Until you get knocked up twice, and then you realize you have to go on birth control. And then I took Mirena, and I was on Mirena for 7 years. Now, I know there's a lot of pros and cons to Mirena, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of like an IUD. So it's like a little, prong. They stick up in you. You've got some little wires that hang down. Basically, the men, guys, just so you know, don't be afraid of IUDs. They're not gonna poke your penis and make you bleed into your women, okay?
Oh,
because there's a lot of guys I'm telling you, the men who are they're really scared of this thing hurt. First of all, it's gonna hurt us before it's gonna hurt you. This thing is inserted into us, so
right.
If you're poking and banging it, that shit's gonna be felt.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know girls who have had the Mirena and it got lodged.
Oh.
And they had ectopic pregnancies, or they end up getting pregnant on it anyways because it moved around. I was luckily not one of those who had to deal with that. I had the Mirena out once my husband got the vasectomy. The one thing that most people don't understand that Mirena is good for is that it is a testosterone-based birth control. So for women like myself who have blood clotting disorders or who have any kind of estrogen level problems, is that taking Mirena is that it's not estrogen based. Also, men, for future notice, is that women who have estrogen based birth control are 7 times more likely to die of brain aneurysms than those who are not. And the reason for that is because the estrogen levels up your ability to have more blood clots, and they pass through your system faster when you're on estrogen.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, and that is why a lot of women, so I have 2 great aunts that have died from brain aneurysms.
Really?
And they were on birth control at the time that they had brain aneurysms. And because they were estrogen based. And so I carry what they call factor 5. So factor 5 laden is what it's called. It's a blood clotting disorder that it does affect men and women. It's not sexually like only women or men get it. Both of them can get it. There's 2 side effects to having factor 5 is that it's called deep vein thrombosis or DVT. Or like I have that, but mine are not deep vein. My blood clots are all on the outside of my vein. So they're painful, they're red, they fucking hurt. I have to wear the specialized fucking compression socks. I've got to wrap my veins around. My varicose veins get really bad because of that. I mean, I had a blood clot, especially when I was on my feet, working at Cooper Tire for a long time, 12-hour shifts, third shift. I mean, I had a blood clot. I mean, it was, I would have to say honestly, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it had to be at least a half an inch outside of my skin. My whole skin was inflamed a half an inch. It was red. It was hot. I had to go get, I had to get all kinds of, weird, I don't know, dumb shit done to my leg to make sure that it wasn't in because if it's in your veins, that's when that blood clot can go from the inside of your vein up to your lungs or to your heart or to your brain.
That's awful.
Right? So you have to be really careful. So that is why some women go on things like, if it's not Mirena, there's another one that's an IUD that lasts like 10 years and Mirena only lasts 5, but it's about the fact that some women have to take this because not only is it effective, but it also is based on the kind of estrogen levels that their bodies can take. So when men are like, well, why don't you just not take it? You're not only fucking with a woman who's stopping birth control in general, but you're literally fucking with her entire hormonal level. And like Mirena made me very angry because it's testosterone based. And so like I was a lot more like I didn't grow like fucking a mustache and became like a man overnight, but I definitely was a lot more aggressive.
Oh.
I felt more like I was a lot more fighting, I guess would be the way. Like when you're, bullshitting with somebody, I was a lot, arms in the air and fuck you and let's go at it and, not. And now that I've been off of it, it's definitely kind of helped calmed me down, but I'm not on anything. So my hormones are like, woo, let's get crazy.
All natural. Kind of like if you let your bush grow out, right?
Exactly. But I think that men in general don't understand birth control, and they kind of put it off. This is a woman's only decision, and it is right. It is our body, so it is our choice. But you also have to understand why we're making the decisions that we're making, because it's not always as easy as, well, just take birth control and you're fine. Every single birth control has deep-seated side effects with it. So sometimes a woman just doesn't, birth control can affect our estrogen levels, can affect our hormones, can affect the way our periods are, for how heavy or light they are. I'm sorry that I'm talking about periods. They're so gross.
So disgusting. Your uterus is leaking.
Oh my God, you have a vulva? Like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, if you're an adult, you're probably listening to our podcast, you're an adult grown man. I mean, honestly, think about your wife or your friend or the next door that you're with, and think about the fact that, like, it's not just about PMS. It's about her PMS depending on the birth control she's using and how it's affecting her. And I mean, I had 2 great aunts that could have lived longer had they not been on birth control.
That's so sad.
It really is. I mean, they both of them died like early, between like one died at like 36, the other one died like their early 40s.
Ugh.
And it was literally based off of birth control because factor 5 is a really weird thing. Unless you like myself, I only caught it. The only reason I know I have this is because that blood clot showed up on my leg. And I luckily saw a doctor. I was lucky to see a doctor, and I had health insurance to let me see a doctor who said, let's run the labs on you to find out if this is what I think it is. And this is the very first doctor at some point in 30 some odd years that had ever let me know that, really talked to me about estrogen-based blood clots. No one had ever talked to me about that. And every single gynecologist, it wasn't even a gynecologist that talked to me about this. It was a regular family doctor that let me know about this. None of my gynecologists, none of my, whatever you want to call them, OBGYNs, if that's easier for you guys to listen to, none of them
the pussy doctor. The pussy doctor. The
They
pussy
never once.
doctor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in all these years, not a single OBGYN ever once thought that
To tell
before
you
you
about
put a
it.
woman on birth control, you should test her for whether or not she's carrying a factor 5, which is I can't even explain it to you, but it's a factor within your blood cells that allow you to clot differently. So
Yeah.
I clot differently, and because my blood clots differently, it affects how my alcohol, the way that smoking, all of that things affect me differently than anybody else because of the way that my blood clots.
Oh, that's fucked up, dude.
So there is your health lesson from
But,
the Miles and
a good
Crawford
doctor, yeah, there's your health lesson this week. Health grade. No. You ever seen those little snippets they do on the news where it's like a little health?
Yes.
Like a doctor come in and he answers a couple questions. I wish that we had a doctor friend so that we could do a segment, 5 minutes, 3 questions.
I'll find one. I will find one and get them. I will have him fucking Skype in.
Like
on us.
Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. I love
That's
that.
a little bit better than Dr. Nick from The Simpsons.
Right. So anyways, what else did we see in the news this week? How do you feel about those tariffs on steel and aluminum? 25% on steel and 15%, I think, on aluminum? 10%?
Yeah, I'm fucked. So, by the way, guys, small shout out. I don't want to say anything in case that any of my coworkers are listening, but
Right.
I was able to get a little benefit of the doubt from my company this week, so I really appreciate them for that. I don't think I've ever actually mentioned the company I work for, and we're okay with that. But as I said before, I work for an appliance company, and so the aluminum tariff has a major effect
Oh, yes.
on appliances. So all of you who are really enjoying right now the fact that you can go get a LG washer and dryer combination side by side, front door HG, blah blah bullshit for, let's say, like $800 and $100. That is what the aluminum tariff is now going to do to those kind of companies, is raise that $800 minimum price to $1,200.
Right.
So
yeah.
just so you guys know, fuck Trump again.
Right. What was it he said? That something is good?
Nothing is-
Tariff wars, I think he said, or tariff wars are...
Tariff wars are good. I can't even. There's just some days I can't even. And this week
No,
has
stop
I can't
disrupting
do it.
everything, asshole.
And he thinks that, and I get it. Like, so again, working for an appliance company, and where I'm locally at, which is in Findlay, Ohio, which is very close to Whirlpool headquarters. Obviously, Whirlpool is, Whirlpool is massive here in Findlay, Ohio. So what you're doing right now, Trump, and your pro-job fucking aspect, dick off.
Whirlpool lays off every 2 weeks already. Oh, shit.
I know. Right? So if you could imagine me doing a fucking jerk-off motion, that's what I'm doing right now. So even though he thinks that he's creating more jobs or he's creating something, so Whirlpool went to bat with Samsung and... Shit, was it a Samsung and GE, or was it just Samsung? Anyways, Whirlpool went to fighting earlier this year and won because I think it was LG. Samsung and LG were like overloading all of their cartons that were coming in full of like washers and dryers so they could do massive markdowns on their overstock, which was like hard for anybody to compete with, especially Whirlpool, who's made in America. So, in fact, Mr. Make America Great Again has taken the one appliance company. It's very few that all appliances, like every single appliance from Whirlpool made in America, he has now increased their taxing by 15%. and therefore is going to raise the prices of all their appliances, which is going to make them harder to sell. And this, at the end of the day, is now my job for the next 4 days, is to talk to all of my dealers and everybody else to find out how they are getting the feelers out for like Samsung, LG, Electrolux, some of those bigger high-end companies, as to how this is going to affect them. Because, can we stay in a bidding war, which smaller companies like myself is in? You can't beat them. There's some companies you can't beat. You can't beat like Midea. Midea is made in China, and they're now coming to America full own. So we can't beat their prices because they're manufactured by the same company, even though they're in America. So it's really hard to beat their prices because we have to pay for it being made in China, transferring over on the ocean. All that freight stuff comes out of our pocket. So when Trump's like, oh, we're going to cause a tariff war. No, what you're now doing is that
tariff war. That's what it was.
Yeah, tariff war. So what you're doing is that you're hitting mom and pop shops. So you're talking about brick and mortar stores, all these things that the general consensus is that millennials are ruining, right?
Right. We're killing them.
We're killing them. So what we're actually doing now is, because of legislation, like what Trump is putting into place, is that your mom and pop, for us, it's Bindles. Bindles Appliances is right in downtown Findlay. Small little shop. Always go to Bindles. I believe in them. They're good people. They offer you competitive prices. And you're right. They can't compete with they can't compete with Lowe's, but you should buy from them because they're a staple in your town. And that's why you should give them business. But now he's now making it 15% more harder for them to be able to sell a certain low rate. Now they're going to go out of business. And so now he's creating a business that has already been struggling through brick and mortar appliance stores are already struggling. And now he's going to make it even harder for them. And then they're going to blame the millennials for why those businesses start going out of business, because they can't keep up with the amount of taxes and tariffs, and people aren't going to buy appliances anymore. And that's, I almost guarantee in the next, let's say, for the time that it actually goes into place, so I'll give it 3 years. 3 years, and when you're going to start seeing, GE is already going down, guys. Like, if you guys haven't been watching the news, GE is already selling off massive amounts of their own business. So in 3 years, you're talking about massive sell-offs. And again, that's one buyer for a massive company who then gets to determine the amount of price, and they don't care how broke it makes you, because the only ability that you are to have to buy your washer, dryer, dishwasher, all that kind of stuff is only going to be through damaged goods, refurbished items, and you can't technically be able to afford to buy anything brand new.
Doesn't GE also own NBC?
Yes.
I was going to say, that'll be interesting, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be, and that is, if people, because of my company and how often I'm on, like LinkedIn, and, my job is to read business news every single day. That is my job. Like, a part of myself is to try to find every single week some really important news articles that have to do with, just business in general and how these things affect us. Like, the Whole Foods and Amazon thing was massive. And
right.
And even if you're not in business, it's going to affect you. And we don't have Whole Foods in Findlay, Ohio, but that doesn't mean that what they're able to offer online is not going to affect our local Myers or our local Walmart, because it's going to.
Right, because they get it delivered, and they're getting better at delivery. Like, they're thinking about drones and self-driving delivery vehicles, things like that. Like, I can see that in the next 5 years, being able to order something online and have it at your doorstep within a few hours.
Absolutely, and it's called
what a time to be alive.
I know, and it's called third party. So it's third party distribution. So what it is that, so you go on Amazon and you pay, let's say, $12. Okay, let's say that you pay $12 to UPS to ship some small little thing that you bought. So what Amazon actually does is that they actually have a third party that goes in and delivers. It's not actually Amazon who has to pay for the delivery services. So even though you pay $12, Amazon's really only paying this third party $2 of that $12, and they keep the other $10 to deliver this package from point A to point B for them. And a lot of companies are doing that, where they're doing a third party kind of shipping. But here's a problem with that. You're no longer, you say that it says UPS is who's delivering it to you. But what you're really getting is some 18-year-old Joe Schmo who doesn't give two shits and a flying fuck about your package. He's just trying to get as many packages out as possible because his bullshit minimum wage pays him bullshit money. Therefore, he gives no bullshits about your bullshit package. And therefore, flinging it on your porch and having it drop kicked to the fucking curb doesn't matter to him, because for him, he's paid on his rates about how many packages he gets delivered to your house, not about whether or not they were damaged. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah. So all these third parties sound great in theory because the company thinks they're saving money, but they're losing out on the money because they're paying bullshit wages of people to not care about your packages at the end of the day.
That's fucked up, dude. No wonder my shit's been... I had a couple packages lately, and they just been leaving them on... They used to give you a little knock, and here lately, they've been leaving my shit in the rain and the snow. I'm like, what the fuck?
So what other companies, I believe, are trying to do is that they're starting these programs. Now, some of you have seen programs in which you have like these cages that are in your front door. So there are companies out there who are starting to get that idea. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, your local commercial, there's one called Wag Dog or Dog Wag, maybe. So what it is that it's a company who knows a specific code to your house. You know who that, it's a dog walker. So this dog walker knows the code to your house. It opens a little lockbox that unlocks a key. They can get into your house, pick up your dogs, take them for a walk while you're at work, bring them back home, do what they need to do. You know, maybe they go in a specific cage area, whatever, and then they lock your house back up and they leave. And that's what you're paying this company to do. So there's a lot of third-party companies right now that are trying to do that same aspect. So instead of doing it with your dogs, per se, they're doing it with your packages. So again, you're going to start seeing companies who are coming out with these new inventive ideas about putting a lock on your house that only Amazon knows the code to your house. So when somebody comes to your house, they can type in they type in the code
and
in
it
the
logs
package.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's other companies who are coming out with like their own like little like lockbox system outside of your house. If you don't feel comfortable with somebody going into your house, they can securely lock the package outside of your house into its own lockbox. Like
kind of like your own little P.O. box, as big as you want, though.
Exactly, and it's going to
Neat.
be right outside your front door, and I think it's going to be phenomenal as long as it's priced right for the average consumer and people like me and you, right? So
you know what? In 10 years, it'll be standard on every house.
Exactly. So, but imagine people like me and you, how much are we willing to pay? Because I love Amazon. My husband loves Amazon. I know you love Amazon.
Oh, man.
Oh, right. It can get you in some drunken ass troubles. So,
Drunk shopping.
oh my God, right?
My weakness.
So how much are you willing to pay to guarantee a package at your doorstep?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another. And again, it's not just UPS. It's UPS's third party. I think it's really interesting about how and where America is going in that aspect of figuring out how we can, like, I find it fucking interesting that companies, like, here's a side note, people. We right now are talking about how we can secure our Amazon packages, but we still are up to debate about how we can secure our school children. Like, I can't help it. Like, I find the fucking irony in that shit. Like, how are we creating all these new business lines to walk our dogs, secure our packages, and do all this dumb menial bullshit, but we're not actually making legislation or companies to take care of our fucking kids? Like,
Humans.
am I wrong in that, Crawford? I know it's a long stretch, but am I wrong in that?
No, I don't think you're wrong in that at all. I don't understand how it's like we're just ignoring, we ignore the real issues and then we fluff up trivial issues. You know, I don't get that. It's like we just want to pretend, like overpopulation. We want to just keep on pretending like that we're not running out of resources and things like, you know what I mean? It's like we're literally heading to the end of the earth, people, and you're all like, let's have 14 kids. I just love that idea.
It's so terrible of an idea. Like, if you want to have a kid, cool. I'm not, again, we talked about this in other prior podcasts. we're not saying that we should force people to only have, like, 2 or 3 kids.
We're not China with the one-child policy, but, I was just reading an article the other day about how overwhelmed our orphan system is because of the opiate crisis. And I thought, wow, that's really fucking sad. I mean, it's already choked beforehand, but now, there's just tons of kids going into foster care because their parents overdosed and died.
Right.
So we have a whole generation of kids growing up like that. Like, oh, your dad overdosed? What'd he overdose on? My dad overdosed on. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
No, but I mean, that's the honest to God truth, though. And that is what, there was an article, I mean, I really wish I had my shit together, but I don't. But there really was an article this past, I want to say week, that I was like skim reading because, again, I just didn't really pay attention to the news, which might have been the great thing about traveling is that I actually don't pay attention to the news as much as I usually do. But it's talking about how foster families are just fucked right now. Mm-hmm. There's nobody, there's not enough money, there's not enough resources because Trump is killing that. And not only that, but there's so many kids in the system right now because of the opiate epidemic that there are just hundreds and thousands of children who don't have no home. And so thank you for making people have children while they were sober. And then when they get fucked up on drugs because you guys want to push big pharma for whatever fucking dumbass reasons you do.
Money!
And then you give no hope to these tiny little babies that they didn't ask to be here. They never asked to be born. And then they're born, and then they're fucking thrown into a system where all their clothes. Imagine this, guys. Imagine all your clothes always smelling like a garbage bag.
Yep.
Everybody knows you can Febreze your fucking Glad fucking bags all you want, but imagine your clothes always smelling like a garbage bag because you never are given a suitcase or a book bag to put them in.
Yep.
All you do is travel from home to home to home.
Bounce around
simply because you are living in a country that would rather prescribe you an opiate than give you health insurance policy that would allow you to get the help that you need in order to overcome A, your addiction, or B, whatever trauma or thing that you're going through that caused this in the first place. I'm not saying that I don't think that opiates should ever be used. Trust me, I know people who are in severe body pain because of actual surgeries and problems.
Right. They should be used on a short-term basis for things like that. But as far as people who get them chronic, I was a chronic pain patient. I was on Oxycontin 10 milligrams for 5 years. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just being like, those people should suffer. I'm just saying, there's got to be a better treatment, or we need to develop a better treatment for chronic pain patients, which could be medical marijuana, but we won't get into that big rant. But I think
always get into the medical marijuana rant.
Right. But I think opiates should only be prescribed for people who are dealing with end of life. A lot of times that's very, very painful, like terminal illnesses. And after a surgery, on a short-term basis, no more after 3 months, if even that long, for major. But it was not hard for me when I first started going for the pain. I have a lot of pain and all this blah blah. I got them just handed to me, through the 2000s. They were just bottle after bottle after bottle, and nobody ever told me. The first time I went through withdrawal, it was horrific, and my doctor never talked to me about that, never told me you could be addicted for life. No warnings whatsoever. And so when I finally went off of it, and when I didn't understand what was going on, so I definitely understand those lawsuits against big pharma and things like that, because I was one of those patients, and during that time period that they're really talking about, I went to 3 different pain clinics and was prescribed narcotic painkillers at each one, and it wasn't hard. I had 4 other medications, but narcotic painkillers is what I took. And thank God I just went clean one. I just was like, I'm done doing this. I got so tired of taking all those medications. and went off them all and got real sick, you know, and that was like 5 years ago, and I'm just lucky that I wasn't one of those people who was so addicted, because I mean, it's Oxycontin, which is the one that they keep mentioning, you know, like Oxycontin specifically. That was the one that I was on, and I'm just lucky that I wasn't one of those people who couldn't overcome being without it and resort to heroin or something. And I would have no idea. Nobody ever warned me or anything like that.
They gave you and that's just it. Like, I agree with Crawford 100% on this. Like, I agree with her on so many levels because, for those of you who don't know, listeners, is that I am epileptic. So now it has been, I don't have wood nearby me, but I have plastic. So I'm going to knock on some plastic here. So I have been now, oh shit, man. It has been 8.5 years.
That's a long time, because I remember when you posted on Facebook that you finally got your driver's license. That was a big deal.
I was 29. So
when I met you, you couldn't drive because you had seizures.
Exactly. So I was 29 years old. So now I'm 35. So it's amazing. Like there's a one gimme rule, right? So like, imagine being 29 years old and I was 29 when I took my very first driving test. This is no fucking joke. I never made it to the point where I was able to get my permits, but I was never able to get my driver's license. So imagine you being a 29, I'm going to repeat that again, 29-year-old in a vehicle with a sheriff who is expecting you to know how to drive, to know how to parallel park, to know how to do all these things. And I'm like, no. And I was so nervous. And I remember that sheriff looking at me like, why are you so weird? I'm like, I didn't break the law. I never once, I was lucky. I was married to and I still am married to a very wonderful man who said, I'll take you through a parking lot, but I'm never really going to let you drive on the roads.
Right.
He never did that. And that's okay with me. I understand it. Like, you don't know, because there has been moments where I'm completely normal. And then the next thing I know is and it has happened, where I have physically gone into a seizure trying to jump out of the passenger fucking door side
a car
that's moving. Because I don't remember any of it. Welcome to, and when people talk about epileptic, I'm talking about I had grand mal seizures. Like, these were ones that put me out for, 3 to 7 hours. There are times that I don't even remember who I was for days after waking up from them, weeks even. And so when I didn't start them, I wasn't born this way. I didn't start having them till I was 15. So I hit my head really hard at the bottom of a pool when I was 15 years old. And I had my first really big seizure. So that's what they thought that it was from. And then I continued to have them, though, for years and years and years. And there was never every MRI, every EKG, every test ever done. I'm completely normal. They've put me in front of strobe lights, doing breathing tests. 24 hours sleep and food deprivation, watching a strobe light for 5 minutes in front of your face. Imagine. It's like taking acid without taking acid. And I could never actually take acid because I was scared of it.
Right.
But so those doctors prescribed me everything. At some point I was, oh God. Okay. So if I remember correctly, and this is again, if memory serves me best, I was 18 years old and I was taking up to 18 pills a day. And between the Xanax, the Zolofts, the Paxils, the Dilatant, whatever the fuck it was, because every drug had a side effect. And they weren't just giving me, okay, here's a few Xanax. I was giving 90 Xanax a month. That much I know for sure because I would sell them off because I had to pay rent. So.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then in between that, though, Oxycontin, like you said, I remember that drug. Like, Oxycontin and K, and Special K, however some of you know it as, was really, really big in our era. Those of you who didn't want to do ecstasy or crack heroin, we had ketamine. And so that was the next best bet to do any of those things on. So it's one of those things where you have to really, get to the bottom of the story. Like, if at some point that some 18-year-old girl who's epileptic and doesn't know any better, who's just who's just trying to find her way, I just wanted to get medicated enough that I could be sober enough and not have seizures long enough that I could get my actual driver's license. I wasn't doing it for the high. Now, not saying that the high wasn't great. If you smoked some marijuana, took some Xanax, drank some alcohol, woo, you were in a great place for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was right after me and Andy got engaged, so I had to be about 21 that I decided I took myself off of all the pills at once.
Oh, boy.
I was like, yeah. I was on Depakote. That's what it was. So I was on Depakote at that time. I had recently got engaged, and one stone-ass evening, I read my shit. And I realized that, so I had been on Depakote for 5 years at the time, and they said, at 7 years, you have a 75% chance of getting liver cancer. You have a 95% chance of, if you are accidentally impregnated, that you have a 95% chance of that your child will have a cleft lip, missing limb, or will have severe birth defects. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, fuck, man. So if I accidentally get knocked up, but if I'm not on my birth control, not only could I get pregnant, but then I'm going to have a child, and nothing against those kids who have missing, I'm nothing against it, but I knew that so you're telling me though, that if I keep taking this medication and I accidentally get knocked up, I could possibly have a child with severe lifetime disability that I'm responsible of. And that was it for me. And then there I went. Like you said, Crawford, I was locked up in a bathroom for days, rocking back and forth, shivering, shaking, puking, vomiting, hating my life. My skin hurt, my body hurt. I never wanted to die more in my life. And since then, I will tell you, listeners, I haven't touched anything outside of your regular Tamiflu, antibiotics. I was given some depression medication for the baby blues after having my second kid. And after 2 weeks, I said, I don't like the side effects. I haven't touched anything since then. And it's not because I'm better than that. Please don't take it that if you are on these medications that you shouldn't take them. I'm saying, from my personal experience, it wasn't that I just had Xanax or Zoloft. And Crawford didn't just have oxycodone. But oxycodone is a fucking bitch, dude. That shit is fucking good.
Yep.
It's so fucking good. But, I mean, you're talking about, I've watched college kids who are on Percocets just fucking lose their wig and drop out of college because they can't handle their shit.
Yeah.
And again, if you can handle that and act and have a normal life, kudos to you. I'm not downing you. I'm not downplaying you. I'm so proud that you can, if those medications truly help your life out, I don't want to be here. I'm not here to preach.
Right.
I'm not here to tell you that you should go take a walk in the woods besides take your medication.
Everybody's different with their health. We're just talking about ours.
Exactly. So, and that's what I hate. I hate when people think that because I'm talking about my personal life, choice, that somehow makes them reflect that. I don't.
That you think people should do what you do.
No, I don't.
And that's not it. We're just talking about our own experiences. And sometimes that helps people who are listening, when you're talking about, well, this is what worked for me. And that might not work for everybody, but you know what? There might be 2 or 3 people out there that's what they need to do too, So that's a lot of times how you change is because somebody else influences or you see something and it makes you think, well, maybe that's what I need to do. And maybe you don't. Maybe you need, maybe that's your perfect storm. My perfect storm is not taking any medication anymore,
But exactly. But again, though, had and I will thoroughly fucking pound my goddamn fist on it. Had medical marijuana been around, I wholeheartedly believe if it hadn't been medical marijuana, had it been CBD oil, even, because I get it, because they say, well, your neurons act differently with marijuana, and I quit smoking weed for a really long time because the doctor said being a pot smoker is the reason you're having epilepsy.
Oh, okay.
But then, but I was still having seizures when I wasn't smoking pot, so I was like, there's nothing that's working. I'm having them out of, and what we've come to find out, and no, this is no medical diagnosis, but I know in my heart of hearts, in my soul of all souls, that is Miles, is that I stopped having seizures because I started to do something that I had never done before, which was take care of myself. I started to make sure that I had gotten at least 6 hours of sleep every day. I made sure that I was eating every day. I made sure that I was drinking water every day. I made sure that all those little things were happening to me, because without sleep, without water, without, certain stressors, I was able to no longer have seizures. Had I kept living a life that I was living between 15 to 20 some odd years old, which was a lot of sleep deprivation, a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of mixed concoctions, I would never have gotten my license. But one day, or maybe it was the hormonal balance after having 2 kids, that my life finally said, it's time to fucking balance Miles out. And so finally I'm balanced. I'm not exactly balanced. Y'all know I'm a little weird, but
just a little bit. That's what I like about you.
Yeah. But I'm now in a place where I can drive my kids to school. And if you can imagine being a mom and not having a driver's license and not being able to just go randomly to the grocery store with your kids, but being like, okay, it has to be the perfect weather for me to take my kids in their stroller to there was a lot of things that I had to do in order to get where I am now. And that's why I think I speak the way that I do, is because I'm not better than anybody. I just went through something differently than what other people went through. And my life experiences taught me that this is what worked for me. And I do believe that had marijuana and CBD oil and all those kind of things been around
available
at the time, I believe that I could have had my license at a much younger age, and that I wouldn't have gone through the things that I went through. And they did make me a better person, and they made me appreciate what I have. Don't get me wrong. I really don't. I don't drink and drive. I really don't. I'm not saying that I haven't had 3 cocktails and gotten behind the wheel. But if I have 3 cocktails, I know because of my years of being in the service industry that I need to wait an hour, drink some coffee, and have some food. And that, per my body weight and per my body height, I know what it takes for me if I had, because I don't want to fuck that up. I'm 35 and I've only had my license for 6 years. I'm not trying to lose that shit. Right. And if I'm going to my local, all honesty, Crawford knows where I live. I have 2 very close fucking convenience stores to me that are less than a 2-minute drive.
Yeah.
I could walk there if I ever get too fucked up. I might have a grocery store real nearby, but I really don't try to fuck with that too much. So just remember that what you have is a privilege. And even if you're medicated, it's still a privilege, that the fact that you are able to have a doctor tell you what you need. I just hope that you're getting the right information from the right doctor, and
before it's too late.
Yep, is steering you in the right direction. And if you feel by any means that you're being over medicated, please make sure that you are checking yourself on your mental and physical health, that you can. And, and again, I don't want you to go through pain or suffering, but make sure that you're being smart about it. And if you don't know what all these things can lead to, I will tell you as a small shout out is to the Dopey podcast that I recommended at least 4 other times, is that podcast will, if you listen to all of their episodes, you will surely listen to the stories about people who have been over medicated and how it has affected their life. So just make sure that if you're looking at yourself in the mirror right now, and if you feel like you are being the best version of yourself, then you're on the right track. But if you feel that you are being over medicated or that you're on the wrong path, that you go see a different doctor who may be able to give you better advice.
Right. Everybody's health is different. Our genes are different. So everybody needs a different approach. Some people need medication. Some people don't. Some people aren't sure until they're on medication and need to get off it to see the change. So I think that's a lot. I developed severe stomach issues when I was on medication, and then I was on 3 medications to treat those stomach issues, and it was all caused by one medication that I took. It's just snowballs. It really does. You take this medicine, and then you got two others that you got to take to combat what the first one does, and then you need something to help take away the sickness that the third one that it's just by the time you're done, you're taking 15 pills a day and you don't even know what's going on.
Right?
Always at the pharmacy.
Crawford, I have to say, for us being like, let's bullshit out of a podcast, we're doing a pretty damn good job of it.
I agree. We had we're like, we'll just wing it, fuck it. But we are hitting our hour mark thereabouts, I think, because we started recording right about the time. I mean, sometimes we talk for like 20 minutes and then we're like, okay, let's do this, and we record it. It's terrible, but we just started recording right before. So you got any shout outs this week? I know that you were traveling and maybe you weren't able to get anything in really, but I know you have your tried and true favorites that you like to talk about every week.
Absolutely. So I listened to 3 new podcasts this week, which was called In Poor Taste, Rough Giraffe, and Jack Lads. Those were the three new podcasts I listened to, and all of them, I can't even say a bad word. All of them, Rough Giraffe and In Poor Taste actually did a podcast like together, so I had to listen to one before I could listen to the other to understand like the undermining humor.
Oh, the references.
Yeah, but it was really great to listen to that. Jack Lads was it was just a really easy, fun, good time. I really enjoyed that. As always, I give my love to all the ones who have shown us. Like, I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam gave us some great favorite follows. Drinks with Larry gave us some great Twitter love as well. Politics with Dummies, they are actually, I haven't listened. I feel so bad, guys. At this time, I haven't listened to your exclusive episode, and I know that you give us a shout out in there, so I will listen to you, I promise, to find out what kind of crazy shenanigans you guys are up to, and I will listen to that as well. And other than that, I mean, I am, for those of you who don't know, what Miles myself is trying to do is that we have gotten up to 416 followers on Twitter.
Oh, buddy.
Wait, is that what it is, or is it more? No, I'm sorry, I lied. 615 followers.
Oh, boop, boop. I'm raising the roof over here.
I mean, that's a lot for where we were like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yep.
But my ultimate goal is that when I get the opportunity, I'm actually trying to listen to every single podcast that we follow.
Yeah.
That's a fucking feat, by the way. That's a lot of podcasting. And I don't care whether I like you or not, whether or not I'm
interested in your topics and shit.
Exactly. I'm going to listen to you regardless, because that is always where it needs to be. We are starting off the month of March, but I mean, if you guys always can, there is one, you talked about Politicity, which I thought was phenomenal. I listened to the last 4 of their podcasts, and they are so good. So,
oh, I know. Aren't they just amazing? They're so put together.
Yeah, so POLI-TEA. So Politicity is phenomenal. There is one, I mentioned it before, it was something about Mondays. Oh, fuck. Oh, goddamn Mondays. I really appreciate them, always. And I know I gave them a shout out last week, but again, was it called Anti-Fact Chicago? No, it's not it. I will find them. I don't have them on my phone right now. But I did listen to them recently, and they really are, they're kind of giving a political humor, and they live in Chicago, and they're giving you the reality of what Chicago life is really about. And because everybody talks about, and I think it is called Anti-Fact Chicago, now that I'm thinking about it, but it really is about the fact that, everybody's saying that this isn't happening, or Chicago's shit is not real, and they're giving you the reality of the news in Chicago. So, I mean, just go to Potter and Family, like hashtag Potter and Family on Twitter. Everybody on that list is fucking gold.
Yes.
That's what I can give a shout out to this week. That's all I've got in my brain.
That's my go-to. Hey, I'm actually impressed you're able to rattle all those off, just off the top of your head.
I'm not even looking at my phone. I'm like literally like, what did I listen to this week that I thought, there was one that I thought was really hilarious, that I really enjoyed. Shit. They were on my podcast list. Fuck, what were they called? Oh damn, they were like a what if, like a would you rather kind of podcast.
Oh, I love those.
Right? And I don't know. Fuck it, guys. Next week, I promise I'll have my shit together and I'll give you guys.
So together.
I will have it, but right now I just don't.
Sorry. I think this was an amazing episode. I'm very thankful that you were able to squeeze me in between trips. I had, probably got some valuable time there.
My clothes are in the dryer, so I'm cool, man.
That's cool. All right, everybody. That's all we got for this week. I hope you enjoyed our hour-ish of variety. You have anything else to add there, Miles, before we sign off?
MilesandCrawford.com. Follow us on Twitter at MC Variety Hour. Visit our Patreon at www.patreon.com/MC Variety Hour. Always. Look, I see that we have like 12 to 15 new views on Facebook. Just fucking like our goddamn fucking page on Facebook.
Then other people are like, oh, okay, other people like this. See, we can't grow if you don't grow with us, friends.
Exactly. So quit viewing our shit. Also, thank you to Ice and the Face, who actually gave us a mention on their Facebook so people would maybe possibly like our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We have 615 people on Twitter and like 64 fucking friends on Facebook. Quit being a bunch of dickwads.
Give us
Follow
a like.
our Facebook, okay? And if not, I will put out some fucking more blogs because I have been sucking at the milesandcrawford.com blogging, but
we've been trying to keep up.
We just can't.
There's a lot.
We just can't.
It's a lot.
Oh, wait, hold on. Shout out to, this is my favorite thing that happened this week.
Oh, yeah. Your Zen moment for the week, y'all.
Corey Forrester from Well Read Podcast followed us back on Twitter.
Oh my God, I just got wet. I got half a lady boater going. Keep talking.
Dude, Cho, I just want to let you know that if you actually listen to my podcast, you are fucking hilarious. You, Trey Crowder, and Drew do an amazing job. Not only do I donate a whopping $1 to your Patreon because I'm a poor ass bitch, but I donate to your Patreon. I am trying to get several people, including Crawford, by the way, is coming with me, whether she knows it or not. I've already bought her ticket for your show in fucking Ohio.
Fuck yeah.
So, exactly. So suck it, bitches. And I honestly will have to say that
meet and greet, get our titties signed.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Her
name's Miles.
But Trey Forrester, Trey Crowder, and Drew, like, I absolutely adore listening to the Well Read podcast. If you guys have followed or even you have to have seen Trey Crowder's fucking videos via YouTube, Facebook, wherever he is.
Amazing.
I'm actually reading their book on the way down to Nashville.
Well read like them.
Oh my God, right? I actually have their book. I got it for Christmas. I still have yet to read it, so I'm getting to it on my way to Nashville. It is called the Redneck. Oh shit! God damn it! I don't have it in front of me, and I have it in my car because I'm so excited. Anyways, it's the Redneck Liberal, bringing Dixie out of the dark. I'm very excited. I will make sure that Crawford has it all to post with our shit on our webpage, and just seriously, like, follow Well Read. They are hilarious and they are great. And thank you, Corey Forrester, for making my week, for following us back.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you for the pity follow. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, but seriously,
we're seriously that awesome that he would follow us, and that's badass.
They're pretty big right now. Like,
we like you guys too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, the Well Read guys really did. I mean, it started off as, Trey and them they've all been friends for a really long time, and one fucking YouTube video, and they're like, well, shit, this is what it takes. And now it's Drew Morgan, Corey Forrester, and Trey Crowder, and they are fucking amazing. I mean, Jesus, they're so good, and their Well Read comedy tour is worth it. So if they are in your town and you are not a completely 100% pro-Trumper, find their tickets and go pay, because the tickets in Ohio, I know, are only going for like $35 a pop.
That's not
in
bad.
all honesty, that's not shit compared to some of the other people that come around, and I am more than well to just go and see them, and they're fucking hilarious.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
So that's the MC Variety Hour this week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. I had an amazing time, and I drank all my coffee, which I had an energy shot in, so I'm fucking pumped now.
And I've got a pee too, so.
All right, everybody. Goodbye.